Welcome to the news, by the way. Welcome to the news, by the way. This is the sound of you getting squozen in line at the Department of Motor Vehicles. This is the sound of grabbing a number from the little number machine at the Department of Motor Vehicles. That is how it sounds when it spits out your next number to be serviced in line at the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. And what this is relevant for today is a little bit of a podcast that sort of corresponds to being able to conceptualize the elements that correspond to a new world where we're all reconceptualizing and reconstructing the essence and the nature of what a new framework of a new superhighway around the whole world would look like, corresponding to the essence of our true humanity in the form of sort of like a business entrepreneurship vehicle, so to speak, but at the same time we're combined with spirit animals. Yeah. So in essence, how we try to picturize this is by conceptualizing that spirit animals, like meaning foster animals, like meaning shelter animals, are able to be like accountability coaches in this new world superhighway. In essence, this superhighway doesn't exist without all of these fostering shelter animals, in essence, and dogs and cats, and all of these shelters around the world that in today's day and age are not looked at as super high valuable items and conceptualized as things that are of high value in society in today's day and age. But obviously things are rapidly changing and reorchestrating and re-dynamic shifting in today's day and age. So how we want to try to recontextualize shelters and animal shelters in today's day and age is like the new Department of Motor Vehicles. Yeah. So in essence, like, animal shelters are becoming like the new Department of Motor Vehicles. Yeah. Because in essence, shelter animals are like spiritual guides. They are like little vehicles, in essence, that guide their owners and the people that are looking after them into the ethereal pathways. Yeah, meaning that it guides people down the pathways of finding out who their spiritual selves are in general. Yeah. So if they didn't have these spirit animals to begin with, if they didn't have these leaders, these guides, these accountability coaches in the form of little animals, they would not be able to know the pathways that sort of speak to the nature of being able to find out their own ethereal pathways. Yeah. So these animals are able to be able to guide people in a mental and a physical and a spiritual sense down the pathways of their greatest entrepreneurship selves, to be able to realize and find out their ways to be able to try to discover their entrepreneurship selves, in essence. But they have to be able to walk down this ethereal pathway. Yeah. So in essence, like, all of the shelters in the world are able to become like a global Department of Motor Vehicles, in essence, because obviously in this global ethereal world where we're talking about self-discovery among all humans in the world, there is no such thing as borders, there is no such thing as countries. So all animal shelters and all of these things that are symbolized by animal shelters all around the world, in essence, that are helping to be able to connect animals with humans and optimize the human strategy to be able to better deepen themselves in terms of becoming connected to the ethereal aspects of the world, that in essence they need spiritual guides. So in essence, all of these global Department of Motor Vehicles are able to reconstruct and construct this global world of an invisible pipeline of different highways that surround the whole world by developing the ethereal pathways which connect to the Department of Motor Vehicles as animal shelters all around the world, to be able to connect people and humans with animals so they can get the guides and accountability coaches that they need to be able to develop an ethereal pathway. And then, as humans go down these ethereal pathways, as they learn this discovery from the best interest of their animals, to be able to also get licenses to be able to drive their animals, because they're checked out and they're verified by the animal shelters, in essence, to be able to try to give an optimized process for verification and validation and protection against the animals, so that the animals are seen as like cars, almost, in essence, where like insurance has to be taken out on these animals, and in essence their well-being has to be well looked after. And if anything, in terms of any accidents or any processes that are difficult to be able to handle or any burdens occur along the way, that those items are reported, just like traffic accidents in the world. In essence, it is a global superhighway that in essence is very similar to all these animals being like cars and being looked at and being prized like cars, where they have to have insurance in essence to be able to drive these animals around, to be able to drive their animals into their spirit animals realms, to be able to have the ability and the privilege to be able to roll with these spirit animals, in essence, to be able to get this ethereal guide. And it's similar to like mentorship in essence. So these spirit animal Department of Motor Vehicles in essence are like sources for being able to give away little mentors, little temporary mentors in essence. And it's like dating and it's like marriage at the same time, because what in essence these people are helping what these shelters are helping people do is be able to realize the best versions of themselves by being able to connect to the ethereal and being able to be guided down the ethereal pathways of a mental or physical or a bit of both pathways, to be able to realize this self-discovery of the best versions of themselves. And if they want to fostering animals in this superhighway of the world, they can foster animals, which is like mentors, like mentoring, like combining the word tours and mentors at the same time, so that you can like go on mentors, basically, where you get different mentors and you can swap them out for different animals along the way. So you could swap out these animals along the way by fostering animals, fostering shelter animals to be able to change mentors, and that therefore makes it like dating. And then if in essence you find a mentor that you want to be able to stick with, such as a dog or cat, in essence, or a shelter animal that in essence is one that you want to be your permanent mentor, that you want to be able to guide you around, that you feels connected best with your frequency, animal frequency compared to human frequency. Once these frequencies are best aligned, then you can permanently adopt your own continuous mentor, ongoing mentor in essence, and then it's like ownership versus leasing a car in essence. Then you own that car, and in essence you take care of it a different way. It's like marriage, you own it up and you own up to it, and at the same time you still have insurance on that vehicle, you still have insurance on that ethereal vehicle. These are ethereal vehicles that drive people around the world to be able to try to find the best versions of themselves, and it develops a new superhighway around the whole world at the same time, because it's just an obligation to do that, because all of the people in the world and all of the animals in the world are already all connected by vibrations and frequencies. So having this new roadway system that's in place, it's already in place, but reconstructing the rules and the dynamics and the essence of the nature of the construction of the laws and the rules and the insurance and the processes, to be able to have licenses, to be able to have the privilege to be able to take care of these ethereal vehicles and things known as spirit animals in essence. To be able to have that privilege is something that you need to be able to be licensed for and be knowledgeable for, and even be able to take tests and be able to pass quizzes, to be able to have the ability to be able to function within the society and the realm of the jurisdictions that all of the shelter animal systems around the whole world have, but they can unify with each other together so that they can be stronger, like the blockchain. All of the shelter animals and all of the shelter resources are able to be able to unify, just like the blockchain, and leveraging the blockchain to be able to have an ecosystem that is global for all shelter animals, to be able to be looked after and be able to looked well after. And just like in the world of the new age of entrepreneurship, while these spirit animals are able to guide humans down their ethereal pathways, it is possible for the humans to be able to document that ethereal journey that they're getting from deeper self-discovery and fulfillment, ethereal, deeper self-discovery and fulfillment, and searching a new quest for deeper self-discovery and fulfillment. That especially like dogs are able to help with when they are walking their humans outside. In essence, when they're leading the way, when dogs and or cats are outside and they're leading people into nature, they're leading a ethereal pathway, they're leading an ethereal life, they're guiding a deeper pathway. So in essence, it's relevant to be able to have that connection to developing journalism around this process, your ethereal pathway, while you're getting that connection to the ethereal process, where you're learning to be able to search for your ethereal deeper self through the guidance of your spirit animals. In essence, you are able to document that process, document all of the things that you learn along the way, to be able to develop an edutainment brand, an edutainment personal brand that in essence corresponds to developing a better, greater interest and greater personal brand of all human beings in the world, to be able to all have their own personal brands, to be able to develop an understanding of a greater, higher interest of their purpose purpose of existence, and that therefore to be shared along their ethereal journey with their ethereal pets along the way, to be able to develop this self-discovery and also this self-enlightenment and self-illumination to the rest of the world, in essence, through a personal brand, which then therefore develops edutainment, because they're educating the world on how they are being enlightened by this journey and this process with the spirit animal as they go along and develop the spirit animal journey with either a temporary foster animal journey or an adoption journey, in essence. But they necessitate the ethereal spiritual leaders that are known as spiritual animals, that are also vehicles, that they have to get insurance on to make sure that their well-being is always well looked after. And this documentation of this process of their personal brand helps to keep the animals safe at the same time and verify and validate that the animals are part of the process and that these animals are being well looked after and that these animals are happy with these owners, so that in essence it's a corresponding process of facilitating productivity around the whole world and developing new pipelines of highways of prosperity, so that in essence we're all collectively able to develop the global philanthropy energy grid, because all of these personal brands are able to hopefully be developed. So these educational purposes are shedding light on educational processes that all of these humans are finding to be able to solve problems around the world collectively in a collective effort, which then therefore builds the global philanthropy energy grid. The global philanthropy energy grid, which connects all human beings more effectively and all animals more effectively and more efficiently through this ethereal ecosystem of highway system connection and connectivities, that is also a deeper meaning through the understanding of deeper synapse searching in terms of the internal searching of the well-being, of the best well-being, of the best combination and harmony of animals and humanity, by leveraging and idolizing all of the shelter systems, all of the shelter jurisdictions that are connected to all the counties and all the cities and all of the globes, to be able to also break down borders, to be able to connect all human beings to all countries in all different cities and all different locations in the world by developing a global population, a global fostering population that also has to do with finding the best, greatest purposes for each other. And basically dating different shelter animals, known as fostering, so that we can clear the shelters, so that all the shelters can always be cleared, in essence, so that all the humans can be dating basically different animals, like it's like dating in essence, but they're trying to find their greatest mentors, so they're touring different mentors, and all these animals are also accountability coaches for all the humans. But at the same time, the purpose is to be able to finally adopt an animal, so that in essence, like, people are always doing fostering and adopting like crazy, always fostering and adopting like crazy, so that in essence they can eventually land on one animal mentor, to be able to find the longest term spiritual pathway possible once that frequency aligns. But they definitely need to be able to go through different animals to be able to help different animals through the fostering process to find their most spiritually aligned animal, potentially, conceptually. But everybody needs to leverage the process of fostering and adopting to be able to get the best process for their best process and their best outlook, by acknowledging the potential for different animal shifting through the essence of fostering, to be able to find an optimization process to be able to align with the best alignment of the best animal mentors that is possible through the ethereal gateways of searching and conceptual abilities to be able to build these highways around the world that are developed and connected by these DMVs that are shelters around the whole world, these global shelters, to be able to help this global ecosystem to be able to be realized and reconstructed, so that the value of all these spirit animals finally is realized. The value of all these spirit animals and the value of all these shelters are finally realized and appreciated and praised, and significant value and demand significantly increases for all these shelter systems and all these global DMVs that are in the form of services that are helping spirit animals to be able to connect with humans and be able to greatly raise the highest frequencies of both animals and humans, to be able to optimize their processes as they collectively move down the road of time, and also hopefully leveraging the blockchain to be able to verify and validate the best, most optimal, realistically secure process that we could possibly develop, as we consistently also develop journalism to develop this new global philanthropy energy grid by developing all these global entrepreneurship brands, that speak to solving all the problems in the world, to be able to then therefore expand on the global philanthropy energy grid. Yeah. Thanks again, Dink Tech, Change for Games, by Peace by Dink Tech, Change for Games Studios, by Peace by.